So now it's time for your baseline assessment, which is your fourth and final deliverable of this module. The objectives of deliverable 1.4 are to, first of all, assess which parts of your enterprise are ready for scale and which parts are not so ready for scale. And as an outcome of doing that, the other objective is to begin to identify some priority strategic initiatives for moving forward and getting your whole enterprise ready for scale. You'll recall this graphic from the GSBI ARC video, and for each of those 4 axes, there are 5 criteria. So out of these 20 criteria, we know that most social enterprises are doing great on many of them, but also behind where they'd like to be on others. And from our experience of what it takes a business to really be able to scale and to get the investment, you need to maybe not be perfect on all 20, but you need to at least show that where you're a little bit behind, you have a plan for closing those gaps. And so the assessment is to essentially understand where your enterprise is on those 20 criteria. When you open up the template for this deliverable, you'll see the list of the 20 milestones and then columns for the status and a checkbox to check if it's a priority item or not, and a place to list strategic initiatives. So in this partial example, you'll see that of the first few milestones, you can write in as the status where you are, how you feel that you're doing, and what work needs to be done or not done. And we want you to, of the 20 criteria, pick up to 5, it could be less, of the ones that are really top priorities for your enterprise, where you feel like they're on the critical path to getting that next round of investment and getting to that next level of scale. And for those 5 or less that you pick, we want you to write out a strategic initiative for how you're going to close that gap. In other words, how you're going to reach that milestone. So why 5 or less? You're busy, you're running a business that probably takes all of your time. If you're trying to do things on top of that, even 5 is really a lot. But we want you to focus and knock off some things first before you start on new ones. So staying focused, solving a few problems before moving on to the next set is great. And we'll also talk a little bit more about what we mean by strategic initiatives, but for now you can think of it as an action item for closing any gap or challenge in your business. So in GSBI Accelerator, we talk about strategic initiatives a lot, and we have a very specific meaning around this as a type of project within a company that is finite duration, things extra above the day-to-day operations. Typically, they could be 3 to 6 months, but sometimes they're shorter, sometimes they're longer. The key thing is that they're outside of the day-to-day operational activities, and that they're designed to help the enterprise achieve some kind of targeted performance. So it's either solving a problem in the business, what are some outside the day-to-day operations things we can do to solve this problem, or it's how do we get to that next level, whether it's increased production capacity or increased financing, increased sales, improved performance. It takes some extra outside of day-to-day actions, and so we create a strategic initiative to make that happen. When strategic initiatives are well crafted, they're great drivers for growth. And the reason is that they can have significant impact on your impact model or your business model. But in order to make that happen, they typically require a pretty heavy cross-department collaboration, getting people from different parts of your company working together. And to make that happen, they typically require a big resource commitment. Now that can mean staff time. It almost always means senior leadership time. So you as a CEO, as a leader of your organization, will typically be very involved in these strategic initiatives along with other members of your leadership team and other key staff. So from that, it's your time, which is usually your enterprise's most valuable resource. So you want to really think about the strategic initiatives, craft them carefully so that your time is being leveraged in the best possible way to make them successful. And in as short term as possible, see some results so that then you can, in that strategic initiative, see where the business is and go on to the next set of strategic initiatives. So here on the screen you can see some example strategic initiatives. Yours will look similar in form, but probably very, very different in content. So you can see one around securing more resellers is a sales channel kind of initiative that would allow expansion. Maybe it's an information system that you need to implement that's going to give you the capacity to take your business to that next level of scale. Maybe it's something like assuring a source of supply, again, so that because you know that you won't get investment if your whole business is dependent on one supplier, so you need to have a second source of supply as a condition to be able to take on more investment. Those are just some examples, but the key thing is that each strategic initiative should be worded very precisely so that it's a specific result, something measurable and achievable in a reasonable amount of time. So in summary, Deliverable 1.4 is pretty straightforward. You'll download the template for the self-assessment, complete it based on what you know and see about your business at this time, and post it back up to the group site subgroup, and then discuss it with your mentors to address their questions, get their feedback, and to begin to think through those strategic initiatives. So with Deliverable 1.4, you will have finished Module 1, and to recap, you'll understand the whole GSBI arc of where you're going over these next 10 months. You'll know more about your journey of the GSBI curriculum and the mentoring who are the guides that are going to help take you there. And you will have your draft business plan deck, which is the core document you'll be developing over the next few months, and then you'll have this assessment of the status of your business. And with that, all that together, then you'll be ready to really get the most out of the program, to work effectively with your mentors, and to start Module 2.